It was announced yesterday that Carmelo Anthony is a first ballot Hall of Famer of the 2025 Naismith Hall of Fame. So as you all know, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I've been since I'm a kid. I've worked for the team, so I have a lot of personal, experiences with the team and Carmelo himself. I'll quickly talk about a little bit of those. I wanted to share some of my favorite collectibles that I have when I started. Well, I've had a lot from when I was a kid, but one of my favorites is when I worked for the team. Carmelo Anthony set the Knicks record for scoring 62 points at Madison Square Garden. So after the game, I was working that night and the arena was going crazy. Everybody kind of felt that Carmelo was scoring a lot of points and he was doing something special. After the game, a lot of the staff members in the locker room were kind of finding all these different memorabilias that he could sign. So my job was to get stat sheets and give them to the reporters, give them to the writers, give them to the TV station so they can see all the stats and kind of report it back out on the TV, out on the radio, and then write it in their press releases. So after the game, I'll go to the locker room with those stat sheets, stand by the players while they gave their interviews. So I always had one in my hand. So it so happened that night that everybody else had something they wanted to get signed by Carmelo. And usually you weren't allowed to get anything signed, but this night was a little different because he had just set this historic record of 62 points. So I had my stat sheet. Everybody was lined up getting stuff signed. So I happened to be in line, and I actually have a stat sheet from that night signed by Carmelo Anthony. It's one of my most cherished pieces. It's really cool. I probably should get it framed. I just have it in this floppy little plastic thing. But he scored 62 points. He shot 35 times. He made 23 field goals on 35 shots and 6 threes and played about 38 minutes. The Knicks won that night 125-96. So a really cool piece that I have. I'm a huge Carmelo Anthony fan. When he was with the Denver Nuggets, I always was a fan of his. I had that old authentic jersey. It was that silky white, with the teal blue number 15, and I had it. It was a size triple XL I got from the NBA store. But there was speculation that he would get traded to the Knicks. He eventually did get traded to the Knicks. I have some of it written down. He played 19 seasons. 8 with the Nuggets, 6 with the Knicks. Here's some of his stats, because I was scrolling through Twitter and it was kind of it was more overwhelmingly positive that people were happy that he was a Hall of Famer, but there were some negative things. I have this argument with Molly's dad all the time and some other basketball heads is what's the criteria for making an NBA Hall of Fame? A lot of people think a ring matters. A lot of people think wins matters. I think Carmelo and the NBA in general, let me just start by saying this. It's not just your NBA records and stats. It's holistic of your high school career, college, Olympics, for coaches. It's overseas. So for Carmelo, he was NCAA championship in 2003 with Syracuse, which is a pretty big deal because Syracuse hasn't won since he left, and it took him a while. I think they might have maybe won one back in the day. 3-time Olympic champion, 10-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA All-NBA team, 2013 scoring champ. His number 15 is retired by Syracuse, and he was named to the NBA 75th anniversary team. So his one real accolade was leading the 2009 Denver Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals. Outside of that, he didn't really do too much in the playoffs. He didn't lead any team to the finals, and that's why I think people have arguments of him getting into the Hall of Fame. But there's a lot of other players, Tracy McGrady, I can't think of any other. But he has a nice resume to be in the Hall of Fame. So a lot of overwhelming support. So some of the bad comments I saw were no MVPs, no rings, never made a conference finals, let alone an NBA finals. So they're wrong there because he made a Western Conference Finals. Did he even make an NBA first team, all defense team? He's a Hall of Famer because of his name value. Don't get me wrong. I think it helps when you have name recognition. A guy like Derrick Rose will probably make the Hall of Fame just off his name alone. I think popularity matters. So that guy's wrong. There's also 0 rings and he gets in the Hall of Fame. I think people are just looking for things to pick at. Again, I'm a Knicks fan. I think he helped lead a lot of great bad teams to the playoffs. So I think it was well-deserved. I think he's should be in the Hall of Fame. There's other players like Rondo, who's not in. Rondo has 2 championships and led the Boston Celtics and the Lakers to a championship. Sean Marion was another player that they said maybe could have been in the Hall of Fame. He won a ring with the Nuggets. But shout out to Melo. Again, a couple other stories I have with him. He used to play his game, and then all the players would come in and get quotes. So a lot of the media would line up by the lockers and kind of just wait for the player to get dressed. They'd give their quotes, and they'd leave. A lot of the media didn't really like Carmelo because he would come in after the game, take his sweet time. Game would end around like 10:30, and then by like 12 o'clock, he'd come in and be ready to give his sound bites. And a lot of the reporters were upset because they had to get their articles out to get posted and published next day. So in New York, like, he would kind of get bad articles and bad press because a lot of the media members would stay all night, not get home to their families, and have to write their stuff the next day or it'd be late. There was also controversy with Melo when Linsanity was going on, that him and Jeremy Lin butted heads. He kind of has owned up to that and said that he was young, a little immature. Him and Amari Stoudemire led the team to first round, I think, against the Heat. Regardless, he's very, very, a lot of people love him. He's got a podcast now. He does McDonald's High School All-American game. His son Kyan wasn't selected for the team, which is a little weird. But one of my favorite players, I found this while I was digging through like some of my Carmelo collectibles. They had a Carmelo Anthony bobblehead night. And here's in the orange jerseys, which the Knicks don't wear anymore. But they got his tattoos, and Ticketmaster gave this one away. His headband's iconic. I also found this while I was scrolling. This is my intern badge from 2010. So a lot of good memories. Hopefully, I'm going to try and look for some of the photos because after each game, like I said, I would stand by the players and they would do a close-up on each player, and I would try and get as close to the player as I could just to get on TV that night. So there's an iconic photo of Melo wearing this like super, super crazy outfit. He looked like he was from Street Fighter. The dude had like the commander hat on, a green jacket. It was like it was the strangest outfit I've ever seen in my life. But there's a photo of someone putting him side by side with the Street Fighter, or maybe I did it actually. And you could see me in the photo. So it's pretty iconic. There's a couple photos. There's another one of him wearing this like USA weird like square hat, and Molly, I'll send it to her and she'll add the photo in. But it was, again, he was known, I think towards the end of his career with the Knicks, to wear like these weird hat fedora things, and that was one, and people were roasting him online, and I'm actually right next to him in the photo, so it's pretty funny. But he was overall a good guy. Always took time to kind of take pictures with people, sign autographs. Again, that's one of my most prized possessions. He built a court in Puerto Rico, so he does a lot of good community work. And his son is really good right now. His son is going to Syracuse. Lala, his mom, is famous from MTV. So shout out to Carmelo. I think it's well deserved that it's in the Hall of Fame. Again, some people will say with no rings, do you deserve to be in? But we'll let you guys decide, and it's good talk. But Carmelo is a popular player, and I think it's overall good that he made it to the Hall of Fame. So shout out to him. Thanks for all the little tchotchkes and things that you did for me, because I'm a fan forever. Later.